Hello YouTube. I just want to put together a brief video about my boat, which is a 1978 O'Day 25 footer that I've owned for about 3 years now. I've done a little bit of work to it since I've owned it. So looking aft, here's the outboard engine. It's a 9.9 horsepower Tohatsu 2-stroke. It's electric start. It runs great. Parts are readily available for it, and it is such an easy motor to work on, so that if anything goes wrong with it, it can be fixed within an afternoon. I have a Raymarine ST1000 autopilot for it, which I've named Rodney, and this has been by far the best addition to the boat so far. It's got me convinced that I should never own another boat without an autopilot. It just keeps your hands free, and it makes single-handed sailing such a pleasure. The main traveler sits just behind the companionway, which I really like because you can have one hand on the tiller and one hand on the main sheet, and it's being controlled the entire time. On either side of the traveler, you have the winches for the head sail. The head sail is just about brand new. It's about a year old and is a 130% jib, so it's just over a working jib, which is more than enough for what I do here on the river. Not really worried about getting overpowered too much, but in the case that I do get overpowered, the head sail is operated by a roller furling, which the control line is ran aft down the side here to a cleat, which can be worked in front of the cockpit, keeping you nice and safe. So if the wind pipes up, you can furl the head sail and calm things down quite a bit. So again, looking aft here, this boat only has one lazarette. On one side it's solid and blocked off because there's a quarter berth running underneath it. On the other side is the lazarette, underneath which I keep my tools, some spare bumpers, a cleaning bucket, and the battery, which is a Group 24 deep cycle battery that has 92 amp hours to it, which is more than enough. And I keep the battery topped off with a small 15 amp solar panel. Again, it's more than enough for what I do with this boat. I use this boat for weekend getaways and week-long cruises along the river. Going down inside the cabin here, looking straight down from the galley, from the companionway is the galley. Stepping down. The galley I've modified a little bit. Originally, this boat came with a pump style sink that I got rid of, and I put a electric galley pump in, so it operates on a switch, which is nice. In the lazarette there's a 30-gallon water tank. Have a small storage area for electronics or things that you don't want to get wet when you're underway in bad weather. Just behind that is the ice box, which is actually quite big for a boat this size. Very deep, keeps everything nice and cool. I've gone out on this boat for a week and a half and not run out of ice one time, and that's in Florida where it gets nice and hot here. So underneath the companionway you've got storage all along the bulkhead. We can keep dishes or silverware, spices, food items, whatever you want. I had built a small little detachable table here that connects to the galleyway bulkhead by a pair of barrel bolts that can be undone and the table removed and can be stored underneath the V-berth. Takes up a little bit of room, but if you're single-handing or short-handed, it's a very nice thing to have, to where you can actually have a nice sized stove to make a decent meal. You don't have to feel like you're camping on board. Underneath the sink is a storage area where I like to keep my chemicals for cleaning and motor oil, trash bags, and also the manually operated switch for the automatic bilge. So I can use that if I don't feel that the automatic bilge is doing its job sufficiently enough. Again, on my table that I built here, I've got a hatch that opens up and gives you access to a drawer that slides out where I keep all my silverware, some plates, frisbee, napkins, anything you might need. It's nice and tucked up out of the way. The port side of the galley is the quarter berth, which runs all the way back the length of the boat to the aft. And this is by far the most comfortable place to sleep when you're underway. Suppose you're doing an overnight sail, you've got somebody else at the tiller, and you want to get some sleep for the night. If you're on a schedule, a rotating shift, you and your partner can drive the boat and sleep, and this is definitely the best place to do it. Underneath every cushion, just like any other sailboat, is going to be a pretty good amount of storage. Underneath this one I have a large anchor, which is twice as large as the one I have rigged on the front of the boat. I've got a lunch hook rigged to the front. That anchor below is about twice the size, which is nice to have for if you're anchoring out overnight. You don't want to drag into another boat or a leeward island. The table here actually folds up against that bulkhead there, and it also move my laptop out of the way, which I actually also use for a GPS. I have a small GPS puck that I stick on top of the cabin top here, and use that with the NOAA charts. So this table, actually, the leaf opens up, gives you plenty of room. It also folds up against the bulkhead door or wall there. Underneath it I have a small 110 volt air conditioner that I've mounted inside a piece of plywood. It fits right into the companionway, and it works really great when you're at port and you can plug in. Even on the lowest setting, that small air conditioner will freeze out this boat. Going forward here into the head area is on the starboard side. You've got an opening porthole, which is good for ventilation, especially in the head area. I've got a small shelf and a cabinet area where you can keep toiletries or cleaning items, whatever you want, any kind of personal hygiene items. That galley style pump is currently not operational, so whenever I need to clean it, I use a little bit of spray cleaner to clean out the sink. Underneath the head sink is more storage. Storage everywhere on this boat. So I've got an emergency baler there. Hopefully I never need it. And plenty of room to store any additional items we might need. On the opposite side, in the head area, is going to be a porta potty style little RV type of head. It's manually operated. It's got little manually operated pumps here. So on one side there's the bellows for the liquid pump. On the other side is where you can fill the water tank to pump fluid into the head. And it's operated by a lever that pulls out and flushes the toilet manually. Behind the toilet is a small hanging locker, which I would say is about maybe 2 foot deep. Plenty of room for me to keep all the foul weather gear that I need. Forward of that is going to be the V-berth. Underneath the V-berth entranceway is some more storage. There's shelving on either side where I keep additional life jackets or the main sail cover when I'm underway, or you can keep blankets or anything that you might need. Going forward is the V-berth, which is the most comfortable place to sleep when you're not underway. It's about 6 foot long, about 6 foot wide, very comfortable. Nice place to sleep when you're not moving. Ahead of that is going to be a small rope or chain locker, which could also be used for additional clothing storage, or whatever you can think of. On a boat this size, you don't really need a whole lot of rope or chain unless you're doing some serious cruising. So looking back, there's a door that closes off the bulkhead from the V-berth to the salon area, where I've got some additional rope storage. And you can either lock it open or lock it closed, however you see fit. And it's locked in place by a small little latch. Just ahead or above the V-berth is going to be the forward hatch, on which I have a solar vent installed, which is great for keeping down the odors and mold while you're away from the boat. Keeps everything pretty mold free. And looking out the forward hatch is the head sail, as the forestay. Again, you can see the roller furling with the control line. I've got my lunch hook all hooked up, ready to drop whenever I need to. And that is it. This boat has been really great for me. I consider it to be the best compromise between comfort and control, as I pretty much exclusively sail this boat single-handedly. It can be done very easily by someone who has even a moderate amount of sailing knowledge. It's very comfortable. I'm 5'7". I can stand up in the boat. It's been the greatest thing that I could possibly think of for single-handed sailing in a small river kind of environment. Although I would not hesitate to take this boat offshore. It's got nearly 2,000 pounds of ballast in the keel, and it'll keep itself pretty much upright if you keep the sails trimmed the right way. So again, if you're thinking about buying an O'Day 25, I'm sold on it. I think this is the best thing for someone who's either short-handed or single-handed or has a small family. It's best way to wake up to $1 million view on a budget.